Okay, so welcome to another edition of Ancient Studies with Professor Babel. Today we want to talk about being foolish, the word fool. Now I know before some of you get all excited, you're thinking of maybe the book of Matthew chapter 5 where it says, don't call your brother a fool. Look at the scripture in context. The scripture had to deal with the false accusation of the brethren and how that judicial system was set up. But the Bible all day is calling people fools and foolish, and rightfully so. Okay, let me find my marker. So real quick, we see Psalm 14:1. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. Now that is loaded, and I try to keep the video small. The fool, so first of all, the Bible is already establishing that this person is foolish. The fool. He already called him a fool. He wasn't a fool based on what he said. He said what he said because he was foolish. Do you understand the difference? The fool hath said. See, it's already establishing that he's foolish. And as a result of his foolishness, he makes this statement, there is no God. So briefly, this can be a very extensive video. I'm not even sure if it's worth making a part 2. But you have to understand the Hebrew. In this particular passage, for example, the Hebrew is dealing with the word, let's deal with it here, it's what we would call naval. Oh, my marker's dying. Now, for those of you that are looking on lexicon and saying, wait a minute, Professor Babel, it doesn't say naval, it says nabal. It's because you don't know Hebrew. Hebrew, when the bet is moved from the first position to the middle, it generally changes, so the bet is no longer the bet, it's the vet, and it doesn't have a dagesh. So yes, you'd stop looking at the lexicons and start watching Professor Babel. So the naval, it's the foolish person. What the Bible is stating is that people oftentimes make decisions, they oftentimes speak, they oftentimes have this idea, this movement based on emotions, not based on logic or rationale. How many times have we made emotional decisions? Whenever you come to a place where you have to make a very important decision, pray about it, take a nap, rest, think about it, decide the next day. Too often we make a lot of decisions that are impromptu, that are emotionally driven without logically thinking. And so here, this scripture is actually more profound than what we think about. The declaration here is that the fool hath said. So this already establishing this person is foolish. And what this foolish person has said in their heart, the heart of hearts of what they believe, they're saying that there is no God. But there is a principle clearly in denial right here. If you have any concept of logic, you're saying, like, there's a major violation right here, brother. So first of all, let's look at some words. Okay. We have a word theist. We know theist, right? Theist is like a person that believes in God or advocates God. So as in the English language, or originated from the Koine Greek and the Latin, when you want to counter a theist, you'll put the A in front of it. So it becomes a theist. Sort of like if you have the word typical, you put a typical meaning common, you'll put an A in front of it and it'll be atypical or not common. It's a way from the ancient languages that you nullify what was previously said. So a theist is someone that believes in God or declares that there is God. the atheist makes a declaration that there is non-God. And so in the Koine Greek, and eventually I'll get a tripod, but I kind of like writing it because I don't want you to get stuck on the board so much and listen to what I'm saying. So theos, and then the atheos, or it nullifies it so that it's not God. So you're saying not God. The problem with the Naval, this is kind of exciting for me. The problem is that for a person to really declare that there is no God, they would have to prove in logic what we call proving a universal negative. Okay, I get a little excited off of this stuff. A universal negative. So what is that? Okay, Professor Babel, talk to me. Excuse. So a universal negative. So say, for example, this is you. This is you. There you go. All right. And say this box contains everything that you know. Say you know all about basketball. All right, we'll put that in the box. Ooh. Can't nobody tell you about basketball. Say you know all about video games and gaming. Can't you know gaming? Say you know all about perfume and cosmetics, and can't nobody tell you about EJ Laurent and all this kind of stuff. I don't even know that stuff. Anyway, say you know that. Say you know all about shoes. Jimmy Choos and stilettos and all those people too. All right, say you know all that kind of stuff, right? Say you know about makeup. Say you know about hair. Say you know about, you're really good in math. Say you're really good in math. So all of these little stars in this little box represents everything you know. Say you've been to Hawaii. I've been to Hawaii. So you put Hawaii in there. Say you've been to Texas. You put Texas in there, and Arizona. Every place you've been to is in that box. That box represents every place you've been to, everything you've seen, every experience you had, everything you heard. All of that is in that box. That represents the full extent and knowledge of what you know. Now, the question is, could God exist outside of your box? Inside the box is everything you know. Could God exist outside of your box? Simple question. The box is everything you know. Every place you've been to. Every song you've heard. Outside the box could be places you haven't gone. Languages you don't speak. Places you haven't seen. Books you haven't read. Everything outside the box could be stuff that you don't know. So, la pregunta es, the question is, could God exist outside your box? If God could, not saying that he does, but if God could exist outside your box, then maybe, just maybe, there is a God and you just haven't met him yet. Right? Is it? Think logically. Naval. Don't call people Naval now. Naval. Hey, Naval. Foolish person. Not really thinking. God could exist outside of where you don't know, where you have not been, what you have not seen. So then, can you really be an atheist? The only person that can really truly be an atheist, I'll give you the answer, is God himself. Because God is the only one who theoretically can be everywhere at the same time, seeing everything, knowing everything, and then declaring, you know what? I'm seeing everything, I'm knowing everything, I'm hearing everything. Clearly no God. God is the only one that can truly be an atheist. Polycarp, all of the disciples of the disciples, they were Athanasius. They were constantly called atheists because they were anti the religion of Rome. They were anti the gods of Rome. And so that term has been thrown out. But really, to be a true atheist, you would have to be able to prove a universal negative. And in order to prove a universal negative, you would have to technically be God, because you would have to be everywhere, seeing everything, knowing everything, to say truly God does not exist. But maybe God just doesn't exist to you, because this is what you know. Maybe he exists outside of what you know. Therefore, many atheists have gone agnostic, because at least they can say, well, I believe in some kind of higher power. But it's hard to say there is no God. That's where it becomes a bit foolish. Stop thinking so emotionally, making emotional decisions, and start thinking with a little bit of logic and rationale, and you will go a long way. This is Professor Babel. Until next time, God bless.